For all of our media participants that are joining us on the call, we would like to just make this quick announcement. If you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. If there are questions in the queue, we're going to limit questions to one initial question so that we can get as many questions asked as possible. If we have additional time, please feel free to re-raise your hand, get a follow-up question answered. Please ensure that your lines are muted unless you are actively asking a question. And please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Maynard with Alabama A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, Coach. Coach, as always, appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Georgetown.
Oh yeah, it was Georgetown, NIA, Georgetown, Kentucky. A good football program. 10-2 last year. Made it to the semifinals. Ranked number 3 this year in the NAIA polls when it came out. Got 2 former national championships. So we knew there was going to be a well-coached team, well-oiled machine. They was going to be disciplined, not beat themselves, and that's exactly the way they played. They had 1 penalty for 5 yards. They didn't turn the ball over. And they gave us a fight. You know, it was 10-7 at halftime. And then the final score wound up being 24-16. So again, we're glad to get the win. Those guys play hard. We got to get better. We got to get better in all 3 phases. But we got there with a W. So that's what we wanted, and that's what we got.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open it for questions for Coach Maynard. Once again, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Floor is now open for questions for Coach Maynard. All right, first question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Perry. How you doing?
I'm doing super fantastic. Hey, what does your team take away from a victory over a quality program like that moving forward?
Just keep fighting, never giving up. We always say respect all, fear none. And I thought we respected them, but it's hard to get young kids up when you tell them you're playing a D2 or you're playing an NAIA. No matter how much you tell them how good the program is and what their record was a year ago when they got national championships, those guys just assume they can just show up and play and win, and that wasn't the case. So we learned that we got to respect all and fear none each and every week, and because the next game is the biggest game of the season, so we have to approach it like the next game is the biggest game of the season. So I think our guys learned that, and hopefully we won't have that mental lapse again going forward.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Maynard, good morning. How you doing today?
Good, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Give me a takeaway about your defense in this game against Georgetown College and what you think you can expect for them in the next game.
I thought actually, stats-wise, the defense played pretty good. We gave up 276 yards passing, but rushing did a great job rushing. I think they only had 300-something total yards, but at the end of the day, we blew a couple coverages and gave up a couple of scores. Other than that, defense played pretty solid. We just got to get off the field a little bit faster. I think the time of possession was like 29-31, and that's too much. So we got to get off the field. I think we only had the ball 10 possessions. So I think 5 times the first half, and one was at the end of the quarter. So we got to do a better job of getting off the field, and we're doing a good job of bending and not breaking. But we got to do a better job of getting off the field early. I think the defense will be fine. We just got to play alignment assignment, and do your job. If we do that, we got a solid defense. It's when we blow coverages and don't do our job and allow big plays.
And my second question is, you're going into Austin Peay. They're coming in 0-3, but don't take them lightly because they are a FCS. I wouldn't call them a powerhouse, but they ring bells in the FCS. What are the things that you see from them that you think you could take as far as trying to make them one-sided or just eliminate something from this team?
Well, you 100% correct. We definitely not taking them lightly. They was a playoff team last year. We played them 2 years ago. It was close at halftime, and then they kind of went away from us a little bit there in the second half. But they 0-3, but they're probably the best 0-3 FCS football team in America. They played Louisville, the opening game. Then they played Southern Illinois, who's ranked 8th right now in the FCS poll, and they played them a good tight game. It was 21-17 going to the fourth quarter, and they wound up losing 31-17. Then they played Central Arkansas, who's the number 17 ranked team in FCS football poll. And so those teams are combined 6-2. And they play quality opponents, and they play them tough, and they play them hard. They got a good football team. You can't look at their record. They're solid on offense, got a good offense. They ran up against some good defenses. On defense, they real good on defense. They fly around. They do a lot of different things, and they get a lot of different looks. So we're gonna have to be sharp this week, and we got to execute at a high level, and we got to protect the football.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynard with Alabama A&M. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, man. I want to congratulate all the coaches that got a win this week, and good luck to everybody else this week.
Appreciate it, Coach. All right, we're a few minutes ahead of schedule for Coach Eddie Robinson with Alabama State. We'll pause momentarily. Appreciate your patience. Once again, for our media participants, if you do have any questions for our head coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question, and please ensure that your line is muted unless you're actively asking a question. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Robinson with Alabama State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going today?
Doing pretty good, Coach. Appreciate you. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement, just recapping your team's most recent outing at Sanford.
Yeah, this weekend we went up to Birmingham, played Sanford, SoCon opponent. Hadn't played them probably about 25, 30 years. Good environment, good crowd. Everybody showed up ready to play. Kids play hard. Started a young freshman quarterback, Zach Sims. He performed pretty well, made some throws. Of course, freshmen, they make some mistakes also. Got off to a 7-0 lead with a big play to Bakari Daly on the sideline. 7-6, they came back. We blocked an extra point. They play fast and the tempo was moving. I thought our defense played extremely well. Had about 4 balls on the ground that we just couldn't recover. Blocked another field goal later on, so kept it at 7-6. Second half, they took a 12-7 lead, and then we couldn't get another score on the board. Had some opportunities. The kids play hard and aggressive, but we just couldn't finish off. And next week we have a bye, so we'll really focus on what we're doing, getting everybody healthy. Really focusing on getting the quarterback position up to speed. So now we can really spend a week of helping those guys to develop and learn everything. And in 2 weeks, we'll play Bethune-Cookman and get ready for our first SWAC opponent.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Bona Stapleton.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning. How's it going?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my question. So this past weekend, Coach, you showed defensive dominance. It was a defensive showdown between the two teams. You were able to hold them to just 12 points. What are some things that you plan on focusing during practice in the next couple of weeks to ensure that the team remains competitive on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, well, with us, it always starts. If you can't kick, you can't win. So the special teams aspect of it, we'll focus on that. Have some young guys who I feel like can step up to that next level and start getting them in the game. Defensively, I have some secondary guys that we were kind of down. So most of those guys are coming back. They should be recovered and able to play. And now we'll get back to the starting secondary that we anticipated having from the safety position. So it'll be fun to see those guys go. Defense played with a lot of energy. They ran to the ball extremely well. Probably our best effort game the whole year. So it was great to see that. They took the challenge of having a young quarterback on the other side of the ball. So it was great from that aspect. And I think offensively, we just have to settle in with the personnel that we have and figure out what do those guys do well. And so we have to cater what we want to do to what we can do well. And that's what we'll do this week. And we'll figure that out. And then we'll come up with a good game plan for Bethune-Cookman.
Thank you, Coach. And just as a follow-up question, just because you do have a lot of changes in the quarterback room, will you tailor your offense or try to introduce the run game just to counterbalance the lack of a solid quarterback?
Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think we can, we're not going to the triple option, although we have some really good backs. And so we'll focus on still being balanced and still taking shots down the field. I think the guys that we have, they're still capable. We have still a very talented receiver room. So we just got to put the balls in their hands and give them a chance to make plays.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Good morning. How's it going, Doc?
Doing good. As far as the rushing, I'm kind of piggyback off of Timona with the rushing. You had Daquan Kinsey had a stellar game last week, and then this week he had only 3 yards on 1 carry. What's anything going on with him? And are y'all going to try to introduce more of a running back out by committee for this next game coming up?
Now, Kensey's definitely the guy. I mean, that's the guy that can, he has a great blend of speed, power, and able to make people miss, can catch the ball at the backfield. He was a little banged up, had a toe injury, and he started the game, and just watching him, we just felt like with the other backs that we have, it didn't make sense to further aggravate that when you have a bye week coming up. So it was more of a borderline. He could play, could not play. So just from being a cautious standpoint, we decided to pull him from the game after watching him start off.
I appreciate you, Coach.
Absolutely.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Eddie Robinson, how you doing this morning?
Doing great, Ty. How's it going?
Pretty good with the Power News Radio Network and Black College Football Weekly. I want to ask you about this bye weekend and some off the field stuff, basically, since it is an election season and there's been a lot of disinformation and misinformation in the Black community, particularly among young Black men. How do you keep your players engaged in what's going on and making sure that they are registered to vote this election season?
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time for us this bye week. The off the field aspect is community service and also academics. So that's the main two focuses. But I think in the bigger picture of being leaders of young Black men, you have to introduce that aspect of it too. So we'll definitely have those conversations as well. You have some sidebar conversation with kids, and it really covers all topics. Most of the coaches on this phone call will tell you, we're parents, mentors, coaches, dads, uncles, all of that. And so part of it is also including the aspect of being responsible citizens and participating in elections. And so we'll definitely give them the opportunity and inform them of the importance of doing that.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Currently taking questions for Coach Robinson with Alabama State. Any final questions for Coach? All right. Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, your defense had a nice goal line stand early on in this game, and your team played with 0 penalties. Can you talk about both of those aspects of the game?
Yeah, well, defense had a good goal line stand. They played extremely hard. We had 6 penalties, and actually had a couple at the end that were close. Personal foul that really hurt us towards the end of the game. One of the things that we have to clean up, it was one of those things where you could say it probably should have been a conversation and not a personal foul, but it's part of it, and it's something that we had to accept. But yeah, the defense is playing extremely well. Love the effort that they have. Had a lot of balls on the ground, and like I tell the coaches, what should have happened. You can't get into, if we would have had this, or should have, could have, what should have happened. Move on to the next game. So it was a tough one, a tough loss against a pretty good team, good SoCon opponent. Whenever we're playing out the conference, it's a little extra sense of, you're playing for yourself and for the SWAC. And so definitely want to get the win. So it still kind of hurts a little bit because it was one that you felt like it got away, especially as good as we played defensively, but we just couldn't get it done at the end.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Any final questions for Coach Robinson with Alabama State? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. We are a few minutes ahead of schedule for Coach Thomas with Alcorn State. We'll pause momentarily. Appreciate your patience. All right, next we're going to be joined by Alcorn State head coach Cedric Thomas. We're working to contact Coach. I believe we might be having some technical difficulties with his connection. We'll be back momentarily. All right, we are working to get Coach Cedric Thomas here connected. Once again, if you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom to get your question in the queue. If you do observe that there are several questions in the queue, several raised hands, please limit your questions to one question so that we can try to get as many questions worked in as possible. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Thomas with Alcorn State. Good morning, Coach. You're on mute there, Coach. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Coach, as always, thank you for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Edward Waters.
Yes, sir. Really good game. I thought the guys prepared very well. Edward Waters brought a really good ball club down that fought, for 4 quarters. Shout out to Coach Morgan and that staff. Started a little slow offensively, defensively. We gave up too many snaps. I think we played about 17, 18 snaps that first quarter. And second half, I think guys kind of really got rolling, threw it around a little bit, opened some formations up, kind of attacked them vertically down the field, and defensively got some stops, had some takeaways. Kicking game played solid. Still too many penalties. Got to get that fixed, but overall, just exciting time for those guys to get a chance to play at home, but also get a chance to win. And so, excited about that. Ain't no ugly wins where we come from. And so we got to get back to the drawing board. Got a big one this week, and excited about the chance to go down to play McNeese.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll open the floor up for questions for Coach Thomas with Alcorn State. Once again, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Floor is now open for questions for Coach Thomas. First question goes to Doc Holliday.
Morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm blessed. About yourself?
Doing good. What is the things you took away as far as from this Edward Waters team, even though they are a Division II team out of the SWAC? What are some things that you took from this team and that you could take into the next game against McNeese State?
They gave us some different formations and kind of slowed the game down, kind of like what we did our first 2 weeks. And we knew they got some great coaches on their staff. We knew those guys were going to be prepared, but they did some really good things just by slowing the game down and bringing formations out late. And so, you always take different things from teams you played or the film aspect. So I think offensively and defensively, that's something we can kind of put in our toolbox, going down the season later on that we feel like can help us.
I appreciate you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, speaking of watching film, the Southern University had McNeese on the ropes earlier this season, and McNeese was able to pull it out. Were you able to take things from that film that you will incorporate in your game plan this week?
Yeah, most definitely. Those guys did a really good job on both sides of the ball, but especially defensively. You know, they had some really good nuances that we know inside of our system that we can use and we can incorporate. You know, and just kind of put our own little twist to it. But you're always pulling things that you want to make sure that other teams has fixed the problems or has some success. Versus those looks. So we definitely saw some things just met a few minutes ago from a staff standpoint and just got through talking about that. So it's definitely be some implementation, not only from defense, but all three phases that we can pull from.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Currently taking questions for Coach Thomas with Alcorn State. Any final questions for Coach? All right, Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we are ahead of schedule for Coach Woody with Bethune-Cookman. We'll pause momentarily. Once again, for our media participants, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. All right, now we go to Bethune-Cookman and Coach. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing at Western Michigan.
I tell you, it's great atmosphere in Kalamazoo. I don't know when the last time we played them, but it was really good in front of their crowd. Obviously, they have a lot of tradition, in the MEAC. We started off with one of the toss, deferred to the second half, and we had a miscue. on a blown assignment, right off the bat, a 54-yard pass. Then on offense, opening drive, touchdown call back for covering the tight end, which, could have been questionable, but that's why we played the game. And then we had a field goal block. Special teams, did well. We had two touchdowns by Darnell Dees, 4 returns for 225 yards for average of 56.3 yards. So it's kind of good to see us put points on the board and, take some good aspects, from the game, we played. I mean, obviously we put up 31 points, against a good football team.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Outstanding. And yourself?
I'm doing great, Coach. I wanted to ask this question, especially in regards to this Clark team that's off to their best start since 2017, especially in regards to their quarterback, David Wright. What have you seen from him thus far on film? Thus far, 9 touchdowns. He has not thrown a pick as of yet.
Well, I tell you what, he's a good, I saw him in high school, obviously, from the Tampa Bay area. I mean, really good football player, has some weapons. They do a good job, as far as spreading it around. And, it's going to be a good football team coming in here, looking to keep their streak going. But we got to be ready.
Quick follow-up to that. Is it a bit of a tough transition when you go from playing an FBS team to a Division II team?
No, I mean, I just think that's why you play the game. You can't underestimate anyone. Obviously got a lot of respect for each opponent that we play, and it's all about execution. I mean, I don't see, conferences. Obviously, people say it is, but you still have to be your best on that given day.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Good morning. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing good. Man, tell everybody, what do you think about Darnell Dees and his ability in the return game?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, that guy, he comes to work and go to work. And like I told him, when you get an opportunity, you're going to have to seize the moment. I mean, going back last season, they was kicking the ball away from him. And, it was just good to see him being able to put the ball in his hands. And then obviously the other 10, making those key blocks, getting to the winner's angles. And then he did the rest by himself.
And follow-up question, you're going up against a primarily passing team in Clark, Atlanta, different style of what you saw this weekend from Western Michigan, where they control the ball as far as running the ball. What are the things that you see from Clark that you think that you can kind of take advantage of in this game?
Well, I tell you what, they do a really good job. Like I said earlier, they spread you out. I think it's going to come down to how well we play up front, being able to put hands, up and mirror the throwing hand and doing those type of things we got to confuse that guy. I mean, he's a really good football player. We got to affect him. I mean, because he can get it around to the playmakers. We just got to do a really good job up front, and dominate.
All right. Thank you for your quiet time, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Outstanding. And yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. You started your schedule out with a pretty tough slate with 2 FBS opponents and an FCS opponent that played in the playoffs last year. How can you assess the play of your team over the past 3 games, and what have you learned that'll help you out going out through the rest of the season against this HBCU slate you have remaining?
Well, I tell you what, being in our situation, which is awesome to evaluate guys every day. We're starting to see, who's going to step up in crucial situations. And that's what you do as a coach. You have an opportunity to evaluate and then being able to put the best guys out that's going to end up finishing strong for you. So it's been a blessing, just to learn this team, to see who can do the different things that we want them to do in crucial situations. So it helps us, to be the best. You got to play the best. And those three teams that we play, they're winning teams and really good tradition. And our guys, they just been outstanding, coming to work, going to work. So we're excited.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Woody with Bethune-Cookman. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we will pause momentarily. We'll be joined by Coach James Colsey with Florida A&M at approximately 10:45. Thank you for your patience.
Have me that.
Once again, for our media participants, if you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. If you do see there are questions in the queue, please limit your questions just to one initial question. If we've got additional time, please feel free to re-raise your hand to get your question back to get additional questions answered. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Colsey with Florida A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, Coach. Appreciate you asking. Coach, obviously this past week was a bye week for your program. So if you can just kind of start us out just by recapping your past week.
Well, I'm pretty sure as most coaches would say, coaches get into that bye week, they worry about the weekend of, right? And obviously, we worked on some fundamental things on Tuesday and Wednesday, kind of went back to day one. with some of our guys, but was happy to say that everyone reported back on time on Sunday. We got back our lifts and got to our lifts yesterday, and then had a great practice, yesterday evening, but got back to our basics last week and got ourselves healthy. We had about maybe 5 to 7 guys that didn't even make the trip to the University of Miami just because of injury. So happy to be 100% healthy. Happy our guys made it back safe, and looking forward to Troy this upcoming weekend.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll open the floor for questions for Coach Colsey. Once again, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Floor is now open for questions. Coach, you kind of spoke of your upcoming opponent there, Troy. What are some of the things that stand out on film that you've observed?
They got a number 7 as one of the best players I've seen, all season. Finding different ways to get him the football, whether it's in the slot, whether it's in the return game. He torched a really, really good defense this past weekend in Iowa. So, overall, team that's looking for a win. I know they're 0-3, but they played 3 quality opponents and played well. But just wasn't able to get the victory. So, I know their head coach is looking forward to probably this weekend, where they're hoping they finally get their first win of the season.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Hey, Doc, how you doing, boss?
I'm doing good. Hope you enjoyed your bye week this week.
We did. Thank you.
Now, there's some irony coming in from Tallahassee saying that your team is the best team in Tallahassee, knowing that you are a former Seminole. What are the things that you want to continue to do going into this game against Troy and going ahead when you headed to SWAC play?
I don't know if it's irony about Florida State. Obviously Florida State's kind of in a similar fashion. That they're looking forward to trying to get a win. But for us, we concentrate what's over here on the hills, right? So I think for us, we have 2 things right now on the offensive side and defensive side that we need to improve on this week. In regards to opening up when we want to open up SWAC play. I mean, defensively, man, obviously we got to be able. Our standard for stopping the run right now is not where it needs to be, and we don't have any turnovers defensively right now. So those are 2 things defensively we're looking forward to. We've stressed the importance of being better in those situations, and obviously we did that. We did a lot of that last week, and continuing to stress like we did last night. Offensively, again, similar fashion, just making sure we're getting better on 3rd down and then holding on to the football. So, two things that we can improve on. We obviously being 2-1, excited about that. But to me, it's not a good 2-1. We've had 2 games where we had that the ones that we won, they were really, really close games where we had times or opportunities to make those games with a little bit of a wider margin. So we struggled with that against Miami, right, which ultimately gave us the defeat that we had. And if we don't take care of those 4 specific things offensively and defensively, we can be in another tight little spot against Troy. So, obviously, you're playing an FBS opponent last week or a week and a half ago against Miami, and now you're playing another one in Troy. 2 good football programs where, you got to take care of your details to make sure that, that you're in the football game.
I appreciate you, Coach.
No problem.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach?
How you doing, Charles?
I wanted to ask this question in addition to obviously your evaluation of your team. On your off week, did you kind of take an opportunity to kind of take a look around at other teams around the SWAC?
Well, for our bye week, right? I mean, I wasn't watching Colorado State. I was watching the other teams in the SWAC play. You look at the level and the talent level in our conference. It's at an all-time high. You had some games interconference, right? That where they didn't really matter in the standings, but believe it or not, they mattered to those individual universities. So got a chance to watch everyone play. It's athletic conference, athletic bunch. I don't know how far we're looking into having to open up conference play because some of the teams that we do have to play. But yeah, I got a chance to watch some. Obviously we watched a little bit, throughout the year, but got a real opportunity to watch some this past weekend.
I appreciate that, Coach.
No problem.
Currently taking questions for Coach Colsey with Florida A&M. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Hey, thank you very, very much, and good luck to everyone this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we are ahead of schedule for Coach Joseph with Grambling State. We'll pause momentarily.
Yeah, you just gotta start it. When you move your mouse, it will pop. Just click it on. There we go.
All right, we're a few minutes ahead of schedule. We'll just pause here for another minute or two to give our media that would like to speak with Coach Joseph opportunity to log on. We'll be back here momentarily. Thank you for your patience. Once again, for all of our immediate participants, if you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Joseph with Grambling State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing versus Texas A&M Commerce.
Well, anytime you take a team on the road, I don't care if it's middle school, high school, college, NFL, it's difficult because they're not in their normal surroundings. So, take a team, our young team and our transfer portal team and high school team and take them on the road. It was a tough environment to play in. And we asked them to play 60 minutes. They gave us 60 minutes, a little bit more because we had to go to overtime. But we asked them at halftime not to look at the scoreboard, not to look at the clock and just play. And they did it. So we're proud of the boys that what they did, but we got to clean some things up. But it's always a difficult situation when you take a team on the road and you play one of these Southern schools.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing, Perry?
I'm well, Coach. Thank you for asking. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Coach, talk about the adversity that your team faced in the fourth quarter and that long 75-yard drive. And then talk about what this victory could mean for your program.
Well, we were disappointed, in the drive that we thought we was going to walk in and they hit Bull elbow and he fumbled the ball out the back of the end zone. And then, just the defense was playing lights out just to get that ball back and drive it back down and Bull coming back. People don't understand. Miles came back to him on a wheel route, made a great catch on the sideline. Then Nick catch the screen pass and he walks in. No, Nick, the first touchdown, but then we gave it to Trey Bradford and he gets in. But it was a time to show some grit, and it's a time to say, okay, hey, this thing's not over till the zero's on the clock. So they played hard. I was happy the way Miles came back in, but we got to play better coming out the half, and I got to do a better job of getting them ready.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Coach Joseph, morning. How you doing today?
Morning, Doc. How you doing?
Doing good. I know last week we talked about penalties with your team. You had 10 penalties on Saturday for 66 yards. What are some things you try to do to short up the penalties for your football team?
Well, you're never happy with penalties, but we're going to have some aggressive ones, But the non-moving penalties, the one that hurt me and hurts the team, and we had 7 of those. So we can't line up off sides. We can't have a legal procedure. We can't have those things. And we got to continue to fix. We got to do what we've been doing, pay attention in practice, and talk to the kids about, especially the D line, get back a little bit, because we want credit card alignment. Everybody wants to cheat the ball, especially D linemen. But we got to do a better job as a coaching staff to getting them back and making good in-game adjustments. And after a while, I think we had 7 or 8 the first half. Then I think the second half we had 2 or 3. But you know, it's going to be a perfect game. You're always going to have some flags thrown, especially when you're on the road. It's not your officials. You're going to have that. So we got to do a better job this week with our officials coming in. It's probably going to call it a little cleaner.
And the second question is the 6 turnovers that you created on Saturday. What are some things you want to try to take into the next game against Jackson State?
Well, we got to continue to play defense the way we're playing defense. We got to do a better job with the run game. But for its takeaway, we stress that. Coach Rollins, Coach Collins, and Coach Smith, and Coach Johnson, they stress, knocking the ball out, breaking on the ball when you get that opportunity. And we're big on catching interceptions. Catch the ball. Don't let it hit your hand. A lot of people say DBs can't catch. No, everybody can catch. We just got to see the ball and see the catch and make the play when you need to make the play. So we're going to continue to play defense, try to play defense that way, and continue to get takeaways. I'm proud of those guys on the defense side of the ball.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Joseph. Next question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Terrence, how you doing?
I'm good. Hey, I'm working on a story. I'm talking to coaches about how the transfer portal has altered how teams recruit. How has it affected your recruiting?
Well, I mean, we still want to be 85-15. We want to be 85% developmental and through high school kids, and take about 15% to the portal. Because I think in the FCS level, you still have an opportunity to develop some kids through your system. But the transfer portal has changed the landscape of college football, because now they can transfer after one semester and go to the next school and be eligible. So, I mean, with the transfer portal, it can't be a hit or miss. It's got to be a hit, because you're not bringing kids in from the portal to sit around and not play. So you got to really make sure you do your homework on the portal kids and know what you're getting. And then once they get here, you got to get to know them, because some of them got to continue to be developed. I always say this: if a kid came for Power 5 or Group of 5 and they dropped down to FCS, probably one of the main reasons because they hadn't played. So they hadn't played, so you still have to develop that kid, because that's the reason he's with you, because he hadn't played. So it could be hit or miss, but for us, it's got to be a hit. It can't be a miss.
But what about the numbers? I mean, in terms of how many kids do you go after high school wise? I mean, how much has that changed?
Well, no, we recruit high school like we normally recruit high school, and we hit the schools. We do have names. We're always going to be inside out, so we're in Louisiana first. So we'll look at the numbers at the end of the year, because you also got to remember now, the first thing you got to do is recruit your own team. You know, you got to recruit your own players, make sure nobody's recruiting them and they leaving out the door so you can get your numbers. So the numbers won't be clear to us till probably January. So we know if everybody's coming back or who's leaving. So in January, we'll have another outlook on the numbers. But right now, we couldn't tell you what we're going to go after. We're just going to recruit and we're going to find some good players. And that's all I tell our guys to do. The numbers will work themselves out. They always does.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, you've got Jackson State coming up next, and they had a stout defensive performance against Southern this past week, holding Southern to only 50 yards. Who I'm looking to do this week against this Jackson State team?
Well, you know, they play good football in Jackson, you know, and they've been playing good football there for a long time. I remember when I came in a conference in 1999 at Alabama State, you know, they was a good looking football team. And I was like, oh, that's a good looking team. But, you know, they got a really good defense. So we got to find some things that we can do, you know, and see if we can get advantage on that part. But at the end of the day, we got to execute. We got to be able to block and we got to be able to execute the plays. And we hadn't done that in the last two games for 60 minutes. So we're looking to come out and execute for 60 minutes. And, you know, you're going to play a tough defense and, you know, and the kids know that. You know, the kids know that. So we got to get them prepared as coaches and get the game plan smoothing out and see what we can do for them. We'll know more probably by tonight, you know, after we finish game planning.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Joseph. Good morning. Ty Miller from Power News Radio Network and Black College Football Weekly. How are you?
How you doing? I'm doing all right.
I'm good, Coach. Jackson State has a lot of versatility with their skill players on offense, using various backs and wide receivers. What's the main thing you have to do the game plan for a team like that doesn't have like maybe one standout player in either position?
Well, I think you got to do what the call asks you to do. You know, whatever Coach Rollins call, it's got to you can't have your own game plan in your head and say, okay, if I see this, I'm going to do this. You got to do what Coach Rollins asks you to do. And then I think you got to play hard. I think you got to do your job. And that's part of the big thing over here is do your job. If all 11 do their job, then we're good. You know, and we tell them all the time. Sometimes we tell them if all y'all wrong, then we're good. But you got to do your job. You got to do what the scheme asks you to do. And then you got to win your one-on-ones. And we understand that they're a very talented offensive team with backs, you know, the receivers, the quarterback, the linemen. So they're equipped across the board. So, you know, we're gonna have to get on our A game. Like I said, we'll know more about them tonight, but we do understand that they skill heavy and they're good looking kids and they're really good football players. But at the end of the day, TC does a great job. They do a great job over there coaching them up. So they're a well coached team. Also, I don't just want to say they have good athletes. They have really good coaches over there also. So you know, we got to do the same over here. We got to coach our kids and we got to get our kids ready to play.
Thank you, Coach.
Currently taking questions for Coach Joseph with Grambling State. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
I appreciate you guys. Good luck this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we're a minute or so ahead of schedule for Coach Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. We'll pause momentarily. Thank you for your patience. Once again, for all of our immediate participants, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Please, if you see several questions there in the queue, if you could limit your questions to one initial question, and if we've got enough time, we'll work our way back. If there aren't a lot of questions in the queue, feel free to ask a follow-up if you have one. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. If you could, please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Tennessee State.
Yeah, obviously we didn't get the result we wanted. Went to Memphis and played in the 35th Southern Heritage Classic against Tennessee State. We jumped on them early, right off the bat, scored, and they get the ball, man. We got them backed up, and, you know, we make a bonehead play. They hit us with a big play. We held them to a field goal. Then we're driving the ball again. 3rd and 1, holes wide open. our guy running backs trips, and then the momentum really just swings. And they end up going up on a 17-7, make it 17-14. Then we make a couple special teams error, and that really was for us. We couldn't get the momentum back. We made it 38-28, going down the score, 41-28. Really good game on both sides. They got a good football team, but we'll give them the credit. But we had some opportunities that we missed. So looking forward to moving on this week. We got another tough one coming up. UCA, I think they ranked 7 or 8 in the FCS. So we're excited about that opportunity as well.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Going good.
Hey, I'm working on a story on the transfer portal and how that's maybe changed things for high school kids coming out. And want to talk to some coaches about your different philosophies in terms of recruiting and how do you look at high school kids? I mean, how's that changed or altered, over the years?
I mean, obviously for us, we're a little different. And we signed about 19 high school players. There's some really good high school players out there. And we did get 4 or 5 guys out of the portal, but you just got to be smart with it. I'm gonna always recruit good high school players. We call it, the little, South. You got Louisiana, you got Texas right here. We got Tennessee, you got Oklahoma. So those are the areas that we'll hit. Really good high school players is getting passed over because guys are grabbing them out of the portal. And I tell everybody, you got to get the right guys out of the portal. They're in there for a reason. Obviously, most of them wasn't playing. And then you want them to be able to come in your place and be able to add value to you and not think they're above the program or anything like that, because most of them haven't played. But I think the portal, if you use it the right way, it can definitely enhance your program. We've gotten 3 or 4 good players on our team this year out of the portal, and they came from smaller divisions. So I think you just got to do a good job of researching it, talking with the coaches, getting the information, high school coaches, and kind of find what's best for you and your team.
Is there kind of a tricky balance in trying to figure out how many to bring, from the portal, how many kids to recruit from the high school, in terms of just the longevity of your program and sustaining the program?
No, I mean, for us, obviously, it's all based off of needs. Like, what do you need? I mean, if you need a guy at the receiver position that can play right now, then you go get a guy in the portal. If he feel like he can help you, if you need a guy on the defensive side of the ball, you may think a high school kid may be ready to play faster. I mean, I got 3 freshmen that's starting for us. I mean, they pretty doggone good players, and so they're going to continue to get better. So it's kind of, like I said, it's a fine line. You got to decide what's best for you and your program. And again, I heard most of the coaches say it's just a process. You don't panic. And so I like some of the freshmen that we signed. I like all 19 of them, honestly. And eventually they're gonna grow up. And some of them growing up quicker than they probably thought they would have to. But we're enjoying the process.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Tanner Spearman.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned UCA coming in. They're a top 10 ranked team in FCS. To have a team like that come to Pine Bluff to play, how big of an opportunity is that for you and your team?
That's a great opportunity for us, our fan base. I truly believe it'll be sold out this week. I mean, half of our roster know probably 90% of that roster and vice versa. We know their coaches know us. Coach Nathan Brown's, man, he got a tremendous program. And so I just think if you're not in Pine Bluff at 6 o'clock on Saturday night, man, you're missing it. It's going to be a nice crowd. I think the sun's supposed to be out. That means the turkey legs will be out. So it'll be fun. But they're really, really good. And so we kind of have a work cut out for us. But again, as like the coaches said on here, man, some of these games that you play, we're FCS with them, but they got a really good program, and that coaching staff has been together a while. That running back is the real deal. I mean, that kid will get drafted. I call him Thunder and Lightning. I don't want to see him. I hope something. I hope he just decides he don't want to play this week. But he's special, and the quarterback special, the DN special. They got a really good football team. Hence, they rank number 7 in the FCS.
This question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning. Doing good.
We talk about the penalties from the game on Saturday, 15 for 121. What are we going to try to do to make sure that your team is going to be disciplined for this Saturday against Central Arkansas?
Yeah, that was very uncharacteristic. We hadn't even had 6 penalties in the first 2 games. And then we come out here, we have 15. You have 2 offsides on defense. That's just being undisciplined, not doing the job, not watching the ball. We had a face mask penalty, and that's going to happen sometime. Then you had a PI, defensive PI, and then you had, one of our players were actually talking to his teammate, and he clapped his hand, and they jumped, and so we got that penalty call. And then 2 of them, just because our quarterback can really do some things, he's scrambling in the pocket, he gets outside the pocket, and we got our little hands outside. 2 of them third down calls. He's literally got the first down. So things like that. So we just got to be smart. It really wasn't anything. It was very uncharacteristic to have 15 for us because that's just not who we are as a football team. And we just got to harp on the little things, understanding, hey, Makai is a guy that can make people miss. And sometimes you probably going to have to block a little longer, but sometimes okay. Just let him go because he can make guys miss on his own. And on defense, we just got to watch the football. And sometimes these penalties are just in the heat of the moment. You're making a play and you and the guy may be jaw jacking. Those are the ones we got to cut out. And then as one of the coaches said, any kind of pre-snap penalties, man, that's undisciplined football. You don't want that. And we got to clean that up this week, and we will.
Appreciate you, Coach.
This question goes to Brandon King.
Brandon King with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab and SneakerShopTalk.com. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Hey, I'm doing great.
I wanted to ask you about your quarterback, Mr. Hagens. You've spoken very highly of him all season long, and having gotten a chance to see him up close and personal this weekend, I definitely understand the praise was well-founded. Can you talk about, in addition to obviously what he brings to the table on the field, can you also talk about the impact that he's having on your program, maybe off the field as well?
Well, obviously for Makai, he was a 4-star kid, had to take the junior college route. Then he came here, he had to sit out. And then, last year was tough on him, man. He started out the year playing really well. He got injured against Tulsa, didn't play in the Southern Heritage Classic. But I tell everybody, like, he can throw the football, he can run, he can do everything you ask a quarterback to do on the Power 5 level. And that's why he had probably 40, 50 offers. And now what we're trying to get him to do is continue to lead the football team, have more meetings with the guys. Man, we have some weapons that we really like at the receiver position, at the running back position. So we've gotten better with our football team, and Makai's, been a big part of that, just being healthy, being more vocal. He doesn't say much, but we're getting him to talk a little bit, and the guys are starting to buy into what he's saying because he's becoming the hardest working guy on the team, which that always makes a difference when your best players are the ones that's leading it. So I'm happy for him. But again, this week, man, they got a defensive end that's supposed to get drafted. They got a good football team. So, hey, we got to get in there and get us a good game plan down and put him in the best position, put our players in the best position, and see if we can get this thing at the end of the day.
All right. Thanks, Coach, and good luck against Central Arkansas on Saturday.
Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Tanner Spearman.
Hey, I'll chime in with one more, Coach. You mentioned before the running backs that they got at UCA. I know they put up 300 rushing yards last week. For your defense after the day that Tennessee State was able to have running the ball, what do you got to do to slow them down and not let them run all over you?
Well, first of all, what we got to do is just stay in our gaps. And every coach will tell you that, man. We just got guys that's trying to do too much right now. And again, we got to calm them down and make sure they understand, like, hey, am I a spill player? Am I a lever player? Okay, who's going to be the guy to set the edge of the defense and things of that nature. It's early in the year, and like I said, man, we got a lot of young players playing, and they're going to be really good. So this week, man, we probably need to put 10 guys in the box. Those running backs are special. And then obviously, we know in order to win this game, we got to be able to stop the run. And so we're going to have to commit more guys to the box to be able to stop the run and make them throw the ball. that's the number one thing any defense need to do is stop the run, and we haven't done it. I mean, obviously, we played Arkansas. You know what happened? I mean, they got big line, all right? Then we played Arkansas Baptist. We were the better team. And then this week, man, we had a chance to win the game, but we give them credit. And they made some tough runs, but some of those runs, we just didn't do what we were required to do, and it kind of hit us. So we got to shore that up, especially with these two guys coming in here this week, and give ourselves a chance to win the game.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Coach Hampton, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We now go to Mississippi Valley State. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Wade. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning.
Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing at Prairie State.
Yeah, man, I mean, it was a bad day in the office for the Delta Devils. You know, we showed up, we was lethargic, looked unmotivated. I think we went into this game thinking what we did the previous week was going to automatically transition to this week. And, you know, we got to understand that each day is an independent day with its own trials and tribulations. Each week is the same. And I just don't think we showed up. And all that falls on my shoulder. I got to do a better job preparing these guys to make sure that they understand the importance of being able to show up each and every day, each and every week. We lost a turnover battle 3-0. We had a fumble that led directly to points. So, you know, it was just a bad day in the office overall. But we met yesterday in our team meeting, and we had honest conversations about, you know, how important football is to each and everybody, players, coaches, and everybody else. So we've turned our attention to Nicholls State, really good football team. They 0-3, and I heard Coach Maynard say that he think Austin Peay is the best 0-3 FCS school in the country. I beg to differ. I think Nicholls State 0-3. I think they're the best FCS 0-3 team in the country for sure.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Stephen Robinson.
Yes, Coach. How you doing this morning?
Stephen, what a pleasant surprise. How you doing, man? I'm good.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you, Coach. Just wanted to talk to you about playing fourth straight to open your season on the road. I know you still got this fourth one coming up before you come home. How taxing has that been to play fourth straight to open up your season on the road? And is it what you expected in terms of just going through the rigors and the grind of playing tough competition right off the bat the way you have?
No, I mean, Stephen, that's what you want. You know, you want that. And, you know, playing on the road for us is not a bad thing. You know, it's good to be able to get away, get in a hotel, just where it's us versus everybody else. So it's not as bad as it seemed. Obviously, I mean, just the travel, I mean, takes its toll, I guess, but we've done a good job as far as just tailoring our practice to be able to kind of accommodate, you know, for these road trips. But like I said, you want to play good games. I'd rather play teams like this opposed to teams that you can go beat up on and give you this false sense of where you are as a team. So we've embraced it, and we're looking forward to this next one.
Next question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, Terrence, how you doing?
I'm good. Hey, I wanted to see if you could discuss a little bit your philosophy in using the portal versus recruiting high school kids, and how do you balance that?
I mean, our foundation is still our high school kids, and with us being in the state of Mississippi with the Mississippi JUCOs, you know, those guys are very, very important to us as well. As far as the portal, our philosophy is, you know, we did some analytics. So we looked at all the kids we signed last year from the portal, FBS, FCS, Division II, and the success that we had was from the kids from a lower level, kids that's been productive at the Division II, NAIA level, are the kids that's worked well for us. The kids that came down from FBS, they hadn't really panned out. And, you know, it depends on where you are. You know, we don't have the greatest facilities. So if you're looking for all the bells and whistles, then this is not going to be a great fit for you, you know. So we look for football players. In the portal, we want really good football players. And for us, it's just been Division II kids who've been very productive and looking to move up to the FCS level. Those are the kids we've attacked, and those are the kids that we've had the most success with. So, you know, and again, I mean, you just never know. I heard you ask about percentage. You never know, you know, because you do have to recruit your own kids. If we don't play a kid enough, he gonna get in the portal. If we play a kid and he's an All-American, all SWAC, he want to move up, so you still lose that kid. So you just never know. You just got to be prepared each and every day. One philosophy that I would share that we do here at the Valley, we look at potential guys that may leave. So we have a really good player. Obviously, we want him to stay, but we look at guys that we may lose just based on productivity. We have a guy to go out and rush for 1,500 yards. We look at that kid and we talk as a staff and say, we may potentially lose this kid. So let's start looking at a possible replacement if we lose this kid. So this portal is crazy, man. I think they need to do something about it, you know, just kind of unlimited transfers. I mean, you know, it doesn't allow you to be able to, you know, build a roster the way you want to. So, but again, we just keep adjusting and keep moving on the fly.
And that was gonna be my next question, is just kind of how does that affect you as a coach? I mean, you know, having to even have to think about this and think about, okay, you know, instead of being excited for your kid having great success on the field, you're having to look at, oh man, this could be a problem for us.
Yeah, man. Look, it's a good problem, you know, when you start losing kids that are productive, you know. So, you know, I don't look at it and, you know, we don't play to feel sorry for ourselves. So what we do is just be proactive and just kind of stay ahead of the chain as far as, you know, if something happened, if we lose a kid. So we don't sit around and say, poor Mississippi Valley or whatever. So we just be proactive and not be reactive to it. So we don't let it catch us slipping. So that's our biggest thing, not to let this thing catch us slipping. We can't control the portal, but we can control how we handle everything that comes with the transfer portal.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Doc.
I'm doing good. Big question for me is your all SWAC tight end Jackson Davis. What's going on with him? We haven't seen anything from him this season. Can you tell us about what's the situation is?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting it worked out just internally, just some compliance issues that we've had that we're trying to get rectified. We actually got 4 starters that hadn't played this year, you know, but we don't make any excuses about it. We just show up with the kids that we have. But we are working on something, a waiver. We're trying to get everything solidified with Jackson, as well as Joseph Church, who's our preseason first-team all-SWAC offensive tackle, and a couple more guys that we're working on getting cleared. So, man, it's been a process, but we are working on it, and I think we're getting closer to getting everything done when it comes to getting those guys back and ready for SWAC play.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question goes to Stephen Robinson.
Yes, Coach, if you could comment quickly on Carrick Ross, a local kid right across the street, and right now he's leading your team in touchdown receptions. What has he meant to the program, and what type of kid is he as well?
I mean, he's the epitome of what you want your program to look like. He show up each and every day. What you see on Saturday is a byproduct of what he does every single day. He show up every day. He work hard. He don't say a lot. You never hear anything from him, you know. And it's crazy. I pointed him out in the team meeting yesterday because a lot of times you have a lot of guys who say a lot, but you start looking at the film and you don't see that. So with Carrick, it's the total opposite. He rarely say anything. He show up. He embodies everything that we stand for as a program, as far as being just a blue collar organization. That's the foundation. Effort is the foundation of our program, and we've never had to talk to this kid about coming in and working hard. So, you know, he embodies everything. I'm happy for the kid. He's been very productive, and he's one of our better players. And we're gonna make sure we keep featuring that kid because that's a kid who can do a lot of great things for you and your program, and he deserves it. You know, like I said, every day. I mean, Stephen, you've been around this program. He's the type of kid each and every day. You know what you're going to get from that kid, and there's a lot to be said about that.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. All right, once again, for our media participants that are joining us here on this media session, if you have any questions, Please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. And please ensure that your line is muted unless you're actively asking a question. And please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question. With that being said, I happen to be joined by Coach McDowell with Prairie View A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, everybody.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing at Michigan State.
Yeah, I think it was an exciting weekend. Always good to see these young men from this level go up to a big level like that and go out there and participate against a Big Ten team and just get familiar with that type of atmosphere. Kudos to Michigan State. They welcome us in, open arms. They gave us everything that we needed. Had a chance to get the guys on the field early when we landed, just so it won't be their first time going in there during game time. So that was a good thing. Awesome thing for Michigan State to allow us to get on there and do a little run through, walk through. As far as the game, again, my guys competed. We still left some things out there that we feel that we could have taken advantage of. How much advantage? Again, not sure, but again, we know that we inside the 30 twice, and as I told the guys, we got to be able to come up with some type of points, when we get that close, because again, we got a really good kicker. And we just got to put it in his hand to kick the ball. Unfortunately, he missed one. A little nervous, we talked about it, big game jitters, and just trying to adjust to the wind. He had some issues adjusting to the wind pre-game as well. So, but again, I would count on him anytime, any day. I know what he's capable of doing. He's gonna make that adjustment, as we will. Not only with the kicking game, but the offense as well, and defense. Again, we just got to keep, stop shooting ourselves in the foot when we have an opportunity to make something happen. We got an interception, and next thing you know, we got a penalty, late hit out of bounds. So again, just correcting those things, and get ready for a good team coming in here with Southern coming in here, and try to get a win.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, would you talk a little bit about Cam Peters? It looks like he's coming along pretty well. And the second question would be, Shamar Savage seems to be a guy that really helps your quarterback develop. And just talk about their relationship and how he's playing.
Good. Cam, yeah, he's doing well. Again, I know, as I told him, again, the thing with Cam, again, just, he starts off fast, and then, again, once he, gets something bad happens, he just got to learn how to let it go. And then he's doing a better job at that. But again, as I told him, you got to get your check downs. You can't just continue to force things into a double coverage or a triple coverage. At least give us a chance. And that's all I kept telling him, is you give us a chance. You got to be able to see that, come off of it. Either you take the sack or you throw the ball away. And don't just throw it up, and get an interception, So once he's learned that, learn how to do that, he's going to be even better as a quarterback. Once he learned to manage the game a little bit better, he's going to be better as a quarterback. And all those are growing pains that he has to learn going forward. Shamar has done a great job for us thus far. Again, he is our go-to guy. Again, we're just trying to keep him healthy, keep him in the right place, put him in position to make plays, with his size. And, as long as we continue to do that, we're going to be able to move the ball, not only on the ground, but in the air as well. And again, just looking forward to this young man just continue to have success throughout the rest of the season, because he deserved it. He went to a little camp this summer down there in Atlanta with some of the former NFL guys, and, learned some techniques and skill set that will help him improve on his skills coming back this year and getting ready for the season.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, this is your team's first SWAC contest since losing the Labor Day Classic. What is the message to your team?
Yeah, just play your game, play your game, and, we're going to be okay. And again, and what I mean by playing our game, get going out there, putting themselves in position to make the plays, and not destroying it. Meaning, again, we're in position to make plays, and a lot of times we destroy it, for ourselves because of mistakes that we make. So if we can continue to cut down on the mistakes that we cause ourselves during the course of the game, we're going to be okay. They know the importance of this game coming up this weekend. So we just got to go out and just, continue to just, lift each other up as a team, and just go out and just, as I told them earlier, when you go in there, you look at the film, look at the corrections, look at what, needs to be done to correct the problems that we've had, since day one. And as you guys know, those the only things that's been hindering us, these mistakes when we're in position to make plays. So we get that corrected, we're going to be okay.
And Coach Henry Miller returning to Prairie View, someone that you worked with. Can you talk about that aspect of the game?
Yeah, my dude, man. I love that dude, man. He taught me a lot, when I was here, just different things, look for as a defense, or offense, and we know what we get with hearing him. Like I said, been a part of his system, and he's a great defensive caller. So we gotta, again, just make sure that we crossing those T's and dotting the I's offensively, and make the plays when the opportunity presents itself.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, T, what's going on, bud?
Not too much. Hey, I'm working on a story. I want to talk to you a little about, is there such thing as a healthy balance when it comes to the transfer portal versus recruiting high school kids? And how do you get there? How do you make that decision of where that mark is?
Yeah, for me, I'm only going to get that transfer portal again, if I need it, again, it's our go-to right now, as college coaches, as college football has, transition into a different pattern now, different way of recruiting. Again, I still would love to go out and get high school kids that I can develop. But in today's game, everybody has to win right away. So, now these transfer portal kids that are coming in, they're going to be the guys that, a lot of guys go to right away. And again, if it's a need that I have to have right away, for me to win, to be successsul, absolutely. I'm going to go to that older guy if I can get the guy that I want, from that portal. But if not, if it's a high school kid that I know that I can, have time to develop, and he's that type of dude that I know is going to develop quickly, I'm going to go with him. Because at the end of the day, it's about me developing, these young men coming in, and shoot. Also with the transfer portal, again, you just never know what you're going to get, camaraderie wise, again, you're wanting guys to come in, and a lot of times you already have your team set, with the culture that you wanted at, and then that's the only thing, with the transfer portal, you bring in new guys and you don't know what their attitude is or how they're going to gel with the older guys. So that's always an issue, at least with me, just making sure that, we can bring guys in if they're coming from the portal, that's going to gel with the team atmosphere here. And so again, that we can go out, and continue to get better as a team, and help us get back to where where we want to be at the end of the year.
How many high school kids did you bring in this year, and how many of them are playing for you right now?
We're running like 10 this year. Right now, only one. Eric Zachary, he's a true freshman. And he's a corner. He's, again, somebody here, again, that we decided to pass on, but, I had to pull the trigger and say, no, we're going to get this guy. And, this worked out for us with this young man. He's going to be one of those guys, kids that's going to continue to improve. He just has a natural instinct back there as far as DB qualities. And again, he's just going to get better. The more reps he get, the better he continues to look. So, he's the only one right now as a true freshman coming in and doing what we asked and thought he would be able to do this early.
Thanks, Coach.
This question goes to Doc Holliday.
Morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Morning, sir.
Doing good. Can you give us a quick synopsis as far as what you were doing, what you want to do for this week? Trying to get your run game started against Southern, but also trying to eliminate their run game, which is pretty much their power right now.
Yeah, and again, I really believe the way we've been playing lately, we could stop the run, with our defensive line. And again, you guys have hear me talking about these guys since day one. We believe that we got guys up there that can stop the run. Again, it's about them, doing their responsibility, gap responsibility, being where they need to be in order to stop the run or pass. But again, yeah, if we do that alone, we're going to be okay. Now, as far as offense, trying to establish the run, we got to do better at it. We do it in spurts and at times, but we got to be pretty consistent going into our SWAC play again if we want to be able to be successful, and try to open up their passing game more, and in order for us to be where we need to be, at the end of the year. But again, it's just one game at a time, and as I told guys, you got to go out and do your 100, which is what we talk about all the time, and just doing your job. And again, we got guys on the front line, again, not a whole lot of experience, but again, they're getting better and better each week. Coach Green is doing a wonderful job with these guys, just trying to get them ready and, staying on the block a little bit longer than normal, and let our backs do what they do. We got some dudes back there that can make some things happen, and we just need to hold these blocks a tad bit longer and let them do what they do.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Last question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Yes, Coach, I just want you to give me a quick scouting report on what you see coming out of Southern. What do y'all have? What's the challenge this week?
What the scouting report is, again, just to win. We want to get out there. We want to win this game. We want to try to stop this run as much as possible, and again, defensively and, and offensively, just go score points. We put ourselves in position to make something happen, and then, make it happen. We gotta score. A lot of times we've been in position to make things happen or score, or whether it be a field goal or a touchdown and first down. We end up shooting ourselves in the foot. So again, we want to be able to go out, play Prairie View football for 4 quarters and a football. And again, as I told them, we just haven't done that yet. We haven't played a true 4 quarters of football. And again, when we do, we're gonna be pretty good. We can be pretty unstoppable, in my opinion. If we just do that. But again, we just gotta cut down on the mistakes, and go out and just play as least mistakes as possible in order for us to come out with a victory this weekend.
Thank you.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Sir, thank you. We now go over to Southern University. And once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach Graves, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Jackson State.
Well, last Saturday, we had an opportunity to go to Jackson, Mississippi, to take on Jackson State in what they call the Boombox Classic. The vet was electric. It was a great atmosphere, great weather. Everything was in place to see a great football game. And we unfortunately came up on the short end. Jackson came out fired up, defending home. They played well. They took advantage of what we didn't take advantage of, and hats off to them. They came out victorious.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Yeah, Coach, did you have some kind of heart-to-heart with the team? It's just 3 weeks, and I don't think you've been happy with the way y'all come out at the beginning of the game. Did you say anything different to them this week? You seemed a little more upset about it after the game.
No, I mean, anytime I lose, I'm upset. I'm never going to be happy with the loss. I think it's the fact that we sit down and we talked after the game, some things that we're going to address, and we'll address today in our team meeting. And we're going to correct those things. I feel like we have the men, the leadership, and the coaches on the staff and on this team that will help us to get those things corrected. I just think it's a matter of a combination of things that we have to correct. And part of it is growing pains and the process, but no, didn't have a heart to heart, but we'll certainly have a conversation to get us on track.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach, this game statistically was not as far apart as it looked to the eye on the television. Can you talk about the dominance that Jackson State displayed, especially in that first half at the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively?
Well, we fell in the hole early on to Jackson. We got behind the chains. We were actually moving the ball. We had, I think, one or two uncostly penalties that put us behind the chains that slowed us down. And then Jackson made a few plays. We had some mistakes, gap control assignments. Some guys were pressing, trying to do too much. They got down inside our red zone, and we blew a great opportunity for a pick six, which resulted into a field goal. And in games of that magnitude against a good football team, you have to take advantage of those opportunities, and we didn't. Guys were they were out there, they were pressing. I think defensively, I said it, I think defensively our guys had seemed to have read the newspaper a little bit too much for the first 2 weeks of how good we were. And I think Jackson also read the newspapers and things of that nature, and they took it personal. And so they made the plays that they were supposed to make, and we did make the plays that we were supposed to make, and thus we fell in the hole and we fell behind early.
And turning the page, Coach, to your upcoming opponent, TSET went down with an injury. Can we expect to see both quarterbacks this coming week against Prairie View, or what is the injury report on Xavier TSET?
Well, the X-rays were negative, so it's just a matter of us him seeing how he's going to move around this week, and we'll see how it goes. It'll be a day-to-day thing.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
How you doing, Coach? This is Doc Holliday. Give us a synopsis as far as Jackson State's defense pretty much basically making you rely more on the pass than the run, and what can you remedy? How can you remedy that for the next game against Prairie View this weekend?
Well, I mean, Jackson did a great job defensively, but it was no surprise. We knew what they were going to do, what kind of pressures they were going to make it, and we watched the film on yesterday, and that's what made it even more disappointing from my standpoint, is because we knew what they were going to do, and they just executed better than we did. And I think we got down, when you go down, 20, 23 points, you want to run the football, but you got to try to get back in the ball game as fast as possible. And that kind of forced us to actually throw the ball more than we did run. And then, when you're playing with the lead, like they had, it's easy to pin your ears back and just go after it, because based on the score, it forced us to do more throwing than running the ball. But they did a really good job of getting the lead and keeping the lead. So hats off to them.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, in your opinion, as a coach who's been around for a while, how's the evolution of the transfer portal changed the game when it's come to recruiting high school kids, or has it?
It's changed a little bit. Hadn't changed much for FCS, in my opinion. I don't think that. I think there's always been the formula of transfer student athletes on the FCS level. I think the rules, the only thing that's really changed, that's made it really drastic, is the unlimited transfers. Outside of that, there hasn't been much of a change, and you know, so it's not. It hadn't changed much to me. Yeah, it's changed how recruiting is going, as Coach Mickey Joseph alluded to earlier. Yeah, it forces you to have to recruit your own team year in and year out. But outside of that, it hadn't changed much.
And does that put more pressure on you guys as coaches? I mean, you know, in terms of having to continue to recruit your own kids, you know, to keep them in the fold.
I don't know if it makes it more pressure. It just makes it, you have to be more, you know, it's something added that you have to do in terms of coaching. I mean, the pressure of being a coach is there. So I don't know how much more pressure you'll get. It's just now you have to really work more on, you know, in-house than you do outside.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Last question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, would you give us a little scouting report on what you see offensively and defensively from Prairie View and what the challenge is going to be for y'all? And then I have another question about something that happened in the Jackson game.
Prairie View, they do a really good job on the offense, defense, and in their kicking game. They're big up front. They have some really good skill players that play with a lot of energy and passion. And defensively, they get after it. Coach Fosselman, who I coached here at Southern University, who's grown up in the game, has done a great job and is a really, really good defensive coordinator. He brings a lot of pressure. He gets those guys excited to play. And so those guys are going to be fired up and ready to go.
And in the Jackson game, you had back-to-back illegal procedure penalties, and I know you were arguing the second one. Were you arguing the rule about sudden movements by the defense that bait the offense into movement? And is that what happened on both of those plays, or just one?
It definitely happened on one for sure. And then the other one was that was the one. That was the one when the sudden movement deal. So I'm going to actually make a call and to Mr. Kelly, the coordinator, and just get some clarification on that, because I thought that was pivotal at that time, as we were on the plus side of the field going in to score or have an opportunity to get points. And so that's something that we need some clarification on, because obviously, you know, we've gotten there's some confusion there.
Thank you.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speak to you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, we go over to Texas Southern and Coach Dishman. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, obviously this past week, bye week for your program, if you can just kind of walk us through this past week for your program.
Well, we put our pads on and we went back to the basics of football, of hitting, tackling, fundamentals football, and offensive, defense, and special teams, to make sure our young men understand that without fundamentals, without technique, you can never win a game.
Appreciate those opening comments. We'll now open up the floor for questions. First question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Mr. Harris?
Hey, wanted to first start out by asking you if you've seen KJ running across campus this week, and how's he looking?
No, I didn't see him run across campus this week because of our bye week, but he's looking good. He'll be all right.
Okay. You expect him to play this week?
Of course. I expect him to play every week. The Rice game was a coach decision, was my decision.
Okay.
He could have played, but we decided for him not to play. We thought that we'd be able to get through that game with one of our other quarterbacks, Jace, who played a lot of football. So it was a coach decision. And if I had a decision to do over again, I would make the same decision.
Okay. And I want to ask you, as a new coach, you know, looking at how,
well,
active,
I'm a new head coach.
New head coach. That's what I mean. A new head coach at TSU. Like, when you look at the transfer portal versus high school recruiting, how did you plan to attack both?
Well, we got a strategic team over here we all get our heads together and understand what we need. What was our need in the portal, and what is our need as far as high school recruiting? And we got a good group of high school freshmen, and we got a good group of guys who was in the portal. So we were just basic on what we need to make us win this year and the years beyond.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Doc Holliday.
Morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Mr. Holliday.
I'm doing good. Can you give us what you saw on film against Lamar and what you think you can do to basically utilize for their run defense?
Well, Lamar's a very good team. We have our hands full this weekend. So we have to come up there and with an attitude, with a chip on our shoulders. We got beat very bad 2 weeks ago versus Rice. And we got to come up with that chip on our shoulder and play a very good football team.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach. Coach Cozy talked earlier about scouting other SWAC schools during his off week. Did you have the opportunity to do the same thing?
We got film. No, we didn't. We don't go out and scout other teams because we have film. That's what the film is for. Coach Cozy run his program a little bit different, and that's okay. Everybody run their programs different. I don't think I have a need to go out and scout the team. We exchange the film. I hope everybody exchanging film and everybody get the film.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Coach, good morning to you. Ty Miller from Power News Radio Network and Black College Football Weekly. You mentioned in your comments that you went back to some of the basics this week. And in every level of football now, we're seeing poor tackling. So can you be specific about what your team focused on and what they did to ensure better tackling?
Well, we got the wheel out. We did our tackling circuit. Offense did tackling circuit. Defense did tackling circuit. Our special team did its tackling circuit. And we just pretty much went back to old school basic football is when your coaches taught you in Pee Wee ball and in high school and in grade school and high school of how to tackle. We showed video to our players of how to tackle, what's the proper way to tackle. What is the difference between trying to get a guy down and move over 2 steps, moving your feet, have your eyes on the inner hip, and be able to wrap up and bring the guy down to the ground.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach. One more question about the transfer portal. When you look at it, do you philosophically think it's good for the game, or do you see it as an issue where coaches may rely on it too heavily, or that the kids are able to move so indiscriminately? Do you see that as?
I don't have a problem with the kids moving. We can't be hypocritical and say kids are moving. Coaches move too. So coaches don't always stay there 4 or 5 years or 3 or 4 year 4 or 5 year contracts. So if coaches are able to move, then we should expect our kids to be able to move. So if any of our kids decide to go to the transfer portal, I'm okay with that. I have no issue with that. That's why we call coaches and we have to go out and get someone else to replace them.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Any final questions for Coach? All right, we've got another question from Ty Miller.
Coach, following up on my tackling question, how much is attitude and desire a part of tackling as opposed to just showing guys what to do? How much does attitude come into it in wanting to tackle?
Well, I think 95 or 97, anywhere between 90 to 98% of the guys do want to tackle defensively. They do want to tackle. I don't think no one have made it this far and not want to tackle. So it's all about slowing it down, making them sure they understand each and every, where they put their eyes, where they put their hands, where is their feet. You can't tackle, you can't arm tackle people these days in football, of bringing that extra step or two, have your eyes on the inner hip and be able to wrap up with a little lift and bring them down.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Dishman, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speak to you again next week.
All right, sound good, gentlemen. Have a great one.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Once again, for all of our media participants, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. With that being said, we'll move on now to our final head coach for our media session for today. It'll be Coach Taylor with Jackson State. All right, I do see that we have Coach with us. We'll work to get his connection. All right, there he goes. Good morning, Coach. I think you're on mute, Coach.
Good morning.
Okay. Hey, good morning, Coach. And as always, Coach, thank you for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing versus Southern.
It was a good weekend for us. Getting back to playing a SWAC opponent. Southern had a really good football team. Coach Graves and them did a great job with those guys, having them ready to play. But excited about what I saw with my football team. I think we're getting better every week. Some guys stepping up in the situation we have an injury there. But it's been good. It's been good. We ran the football well, really pleased with our offensive line, controlling the line of scrimmage as well as the defensive line, taking the run game away from Southern and making them one-dimensional. So I was very pleased for our football team. It was a great win, good for the city of Jackson.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Doc Holliday.
Morning, Coach. How you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good. Can you give us a prognosis of Cameron McCoy, and do you think he'll be available for this weekend?
We'll take a look at him today. He was fine, got banged up. His helmet slid and kind of scratched his eye. He had to get a couple stitches, but we'll continue to monitor him, but we expect to have him out there this weekend.
My follow-up question is, the defense gave up over 400 yards, but most of that was passing because you took away the run early on in the game. What are some things you want to try to do to clean up as far as pass defense goes?
Yeah, just getting guys in the right spot. I think a couple of their explosive plays were, maybe a safety out of position. But when you make a team one-dimensional and they're throwing the ball the entire game, that's what you're kind of going to get. But without our defense knows we still got to stop these quarterbacks from throwing the football around. So we'll get out here and practice this week and, make those adjustments.
Appreciate you, Coach. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach, great job this past week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ty Miller just talked about tackling, and watching that game Saturday, I noticed that a lot of your guys ran through a lot of would-be tacklers for the Jaguars. Is that something that your team works on, running through first contact? Talk about that preparation.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about two things, yards after the catch or yards after the carry and ball security. And that's something we emphasize all summer long, all through training camp with our guys. We kind of was scouting the Southern and noticed how, their guys came to gather when they tried to tackle. So we thought we could, have opportunity to break some tackles, but we definitely work on that throughout the weeks in practice.
And Coach, you've mentioned before in these sessions about your playmakers, and you've got a bunch of them, Coach. But let's talk about going to Grambling and being in the hole and that experience and what you expect out of your playmakers there.
Yeah. Well, first thing first, we talked about playing well at home. Our football team has done that. So now we got to go on the road and find a way to win a football game. We came up a little short against Monroe. Grambling is going to be a hostile crowd. It's going to be packed. It should be sold out. And just getting these guys' mindset right of what it's like playing on the road and how we go about winning a game on the road. That's going to be critical. And we just emphasizing that those things in meetings with them and just, playing our game of football, playing our brand of football, and I think we'll be fine.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. hey, I know a couple of years ago, obviously, when Dion was there, you guys went heavy in the portal. Since then, I mean, has that philosophy changed at all? And how do you balance, high school recruiting versus, sticking in the portal?
Well, the first year we had to really rely heavily on the portal because we lost so many guys. But this past signing class was a little bit different. We had quite a few guys coming back off last year's team, so we was able to start building from the ground up and going into these high schools and get some really good talented high school football players, some guys that's making impacts for us now on the football field. So it's just about need. It's about need. If we need an immediate impact guy, sometimes we can go in that portal and find that. But then, I have no problem going out and get these high school, these freshmen football players, because you can see now, like Travis Terrell can come in and, play immediately for you.
Has there been any kind of, in your mind, devaluing of high school recruits because you have so many guys who are able to move so freely, who are experienced and come in kind of ready to play right now? I mean, has that devalued at all the high school recruit?
I don't think so. I mean, they're still playing good football in high school. They're still playing good football in these high schools. I think the thing is now with these high schoolers you get now on your campus, they want to play early. The way the landscape is laid out now, if they don't play early, they sometimes want to leave, and you go where they can play. But that's kind of what you're dealing with. But there's still some great high school football being played. That's why this year, we probably hit on about 6 or 7 really good high school O-linemen that really hadn't touched the football field for us this year, but it's going to be really solid for us next year, as well as some other players at the skill position. So I think it's all about what you need as a program.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Carson, good morning to you.
Hey, how you doing?
Coach, this concerns the matchup with Grambling. In taking on a team, a foe that you know well, but with a new head coach and a possible new scheme, what adjustments do you make? And I ask that because if you look at anything about the Dallas-New Orleans game yesterday, the Saints came with a new scheme, and it looks like the Cowboys defense never adjusted to the new misdirections and everything that the Saints brought. So with Mickey Joseph being the new coach at Grambling State, what possible adjustment would you make on the fly with new schemes that you may not be aware of?
It's just once you get into the flow of the game, you take the film and some of the games that they play, we'll be breaking those games down. But it's always, you want to get into the flow of the game and see what they're presenting on defense, on offense, and get with your coaching staff and make those adjustments as quick as possible, and also translate that information to your players. So that's why I think the team that can make those quickest adjustments this weekend is going to be successful.
Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
Any final questions for Coach Taylor with Jackson State?
Yes, I have a follow-up if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
In watching and what you've seen of the Tigers so far, Coach, what are your main concerns about Mickey Joseph's team?
He has the preseason offensive player of the year there, Miles Crawley. He's a good quarterback. So we got to find ways to, get to him. We want to put some pressure on him with our front 4 guys. They got some speed. They got some size on the defense, is similar size to what Southern had, probably a little bigger, but he's done a great job in his first year recruiting. You can tell he's kind of changed the landscape over there, and they're playing very, very physical football. It's going to be another physical football game, no different than when we played this weekend, though.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach Taylor, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. This concludes our SWAC football media session for Monday, September the 16th. Once again, all of the media sessions for this year are auto-archived on YouTube at the SWAC Digital Network. Thank you for your participation. Have a great day.